Happy Friday, everyone. Happy holidays. Excited to be back for another live stream. My name is Justin Moore, founder of Creator Wizard, where I teach you how to find and negotiate your dream sponsorships. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. Y'all, I have a slightly different background today. Have you noticed? For the last couple months, I just haven't been super thrilled with the quality of my live streams and so on, or kind of the quality of the background. And so I hired someone to help me kind of dial it in, right? So you probably see some plants, you probably see some, the lights are a little bit different. I don't have the shelving lighting on. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of dial this in. I still have like some lights that I'm purchasing, like a top light and so on. We could talk about that a little bit later, but yeah, I'm excited to just kind of dial this in. I think I've outgrown the whole kind of YouTuber like neon lights, which I had for a long time. Even though it was kind of my signature, I don't know. But today we're going to be talking about envy, FOMO, and gratefulness, and just generally like reflections on 2022 as a creator. Let me know in the chat, like, you know, how you feel as though the year ended up for you. I know a lot of people have somewhat mixed feelings. For some creators, it was like their best year ever. Some creators, it was on a downtrend relative to 2022 or 2021. And so I'm curious, we're going to get into Q&A, and I'm going to answer any questions you have about negotiations and sponsorships and all that stuff. But I'd love to hear from you. Like, what were your goals for this year? Did you hit them? Did you not? What were some of your biggest successes and failures? I just kind of wanted to get the juices flowing with a couple, just taking a moment to reflect. you know, one of the like craziest parts about this year, just generally, is, well, first of all, I grew the newsletter almost 5x. I started the year at, I think, 1,844 people on my newsletter, the creators on my newsletter, which is crazy. And now I hit 10,000 like a week or two ago. So it's just crazy. It's grown 5x, grown really significantly. I have gotten to work with so many just like hungry and fun and driven creators. One of my boys is finally getting into Harry Potter, so we can read it together at bedtime. I have a lot of kind of like life milestone stuff that happened to me this year as well. But I also, there's been struggles, too, and perhaps things that you might be able to relate to as a creator. Um, I think that as creators, we have a very highly unique um, relationship with our work, right? We're not necessarily bound by the same obligations as those working in 9 to 5, even if what you're doing is just a side hustle, right? And the upside of this is that there really isn't a ceiling to the opportunities that we can create for ourselves. That's one of the things that I always, found so fascinating and exciting when I was in medical devices in my 9 to 5. I saw that there was this tremendous potential if I were to spend this opportunity cost, if I were to spend 40, 50, 60 hours a week in my creator business. Like, what could it turn into, right? And so this ceiling of 1 to 3% cost of living or like raise that you could expect in a normal job, that just simply doesn't exist, at least the last decade that I've found being creators. And so there's all these tremendous opportunities. However, the downside is that we don't have anyone telling us to stop. That's been a real challenge for me over my creator journey, right? And so what this means is that it's really hard to know when you have arrived, right? At the destination that you set out for, right? I saw this show on Netflix recently. It was a movie or documentary produced by Jonah Hill called Stutz. And it was just absolutely incredible. It was he interviewed his therapist. And the therapist, I think his name was Phil Stutz, was able to share a lot of the frameworks that he has used to help counsel his patients over the years. And I'm a frameworks guy. I love that kind of thing, and so it really resonated with me. One of them in particular was called the perfect snapshot. Okay, and the way he describes it is that a lot of us have this perfect vision in this vision in their head of what their perfect life or their perfect business is, right? or like, and what people want to like create for themselves. And the way he described it is that it's not like a moving snapshot. It's just a frozen moment in time, and it's like an ideal that we look at and think about all the time. And um, it's not really that realistic, right? And in reality, even if we were to achieve that perfect snapshot, um, we think that like, in like the pie in the sky, we believe, oh yeah, that's going to make us happy if we achieve that. But then even if we get close to that, we realize like, wow, that actually is not the thing that's going to bring me happiness or bring me fulfillment. And, I had this for myself for a long time, as you probably know. I had to shut down my influencer marketing agency that I ran for 7 years. I made a whole video about, the incredible failure of that. I mean, it wasn't a failure per se, but it was like it didn't turn into the thing that I hoped it would be, right? And however, like unexpected things happen, right? I mean, inspiration comes as goes, plans change, and I was able to glean a lot of the experience from running the agency into educating creators, right? Understanding both sides of like being a creator as well as behind the scenes of what's happening, the conversations and that are happening behind the scenes with these agencies and so on. And so obviously led to this next thing that I'm doing now. But I think the general problem is that, at least for me, I always want to do more as a creator. Right? I beat myself up constantly when I see others who are going faster than me, or they're doing cool stuff that I wanna do, and honestly, I feel this itch, right? I feel the pang of envy, and I think that um, it's really difficult to just shut that off. Let me know in the chat, have any of you experienced that feeling? And because I think I'm not alone, but it's like, I don't know, I just get this itch. It's hard to really describe um, what that feels like. And the um, the interesting thing is that even though like my past self, right, would look at everything that I have today, right, my family, my business, my whole life, and my past self would be super proud. I still find it hard to be kind of in the present, like be as kind to myself in the present. It's just kind of like a constant internal battle to remember that the journey is what I know I'm going to look back on most fondly at the end of my life. Like right now in the trenches, building Creator Wizard, figuring it all out, launching courses, my newsletter, making that better, like coaching people one on one, doing all this stuff. Um, I know, even though I'm in the weeds of it right now, I know that that's what I'm going to look back on in 20 years, 10 years, or whatever, when I'm at this like way different place. And yet somehow it's hard to be super present about that in the moment. And so I wanted to just like mention my three takeaways from this year, okay, as I was reflecting. And the first one is that the only path that matters is your own, at your own pace. And you have to stop measuring your worth relative to others. It's so easy, right? We're caught up in this social media vacuum, this social media hamster wheel, where so much of how we judge ourselves and our worth is based on someone else in our niche, or someone else that we really look up to on social media. They have more followers than me. They get more downloads than me, or more views than me, or whatever it is, right? They're making better content. It looks better, all this stuff. It's one thing to aspire to that and be inspired by that. But it's another thing to let it become toxic and let it be this kind of vicious cycle of like, oh, I'll never amount to anything. I'll never get to that point. Um, right. And so that has been it's an ongoing lesson for me, because even though it's funny, because I know that there's a lot of people who look up to like what I've built, what I have done over the last several years with this Creator Wizard brand. But then again, I'm always looking at like the next person, like, oh man, like they're making social media month, or they have this many followers or views or whatever. Like, like here's a very easy anecdote. It's like I uh, I feel as though my like YouTube videos, the amount of time that I invest in them, the amount of money that I spend on editing, editors, like creating all that stuff, like I wish that it could reach and impact more creators. I see other, folks out there who are educating creators, and it's like I feel this pang of envy. It's like this FOMO of like, man, I wish I could just. And it's not from a place of like jealousy. It's more of a place of like, I really want to reach those people to impact them, right? To educate them, and like that's really where it comes from. And so a lot of what I think about is like, how can I make that happen? How can I get better with my videos? How can I get better with my content and all this stuff? I've really honestly found, having the newsletter be very, very liberating for me because I've been able to explore a different creative side, the written side, that was missing from my life and my creator business for so long. And so it's like I'm finding these pockets of fulfillment. Whereas like I was doing a weekly YouTube video for a long time, and I felt like I was just banging my head against the wall until I finally stopped. You probably noticed I haven't uploaded a new YouTube video in like a couple months actually, or 2 months, maybe a month and a half or something like that. I used to do it every week, and so now I'm allowing myself to take a step back and say, okay, you know what, the newsletter is actually more fulfilling to me right now. It's feeling a little bit more impactful to my business. I'm really excited about launching this new podcast in January, right? So it's like I'm allowing myself to explore these other creative angles because I think a lot of times we feel so beholden to what we have done in the past and feel as though we're a failure because we are not like making that thing successful. Whereas if we gave ourselves the creative liberty to, or the grace to explore some of these other things and realize, you know what, it's not a failure. You learned some things from that, and now it's time to maybe try something else, right? And so that's kind of where I'm at right now with um, with that piece is just kind of like looking at your own path and realizing that the pace that you feel like you need to be on it's just made up in your head. Like you can absolutely do slow down and take time to figure out what the next thing is, right? So the second thing before we dive into Q&A, the second takeaway for me as a creator this year, is that imposter syndrome never really goes away, right? So you may as well go for your dreams, right? I mean, I think there's a lot of creators who have actually reached out to me this year who have wanted to do something. They wanted to start consulting or doing coaching or start a channel about XYZ or whatever. And a lot of the root of the fear or the uncertainty around doing the thing comes down to feeling as though they may not be qualified to give advice in a certain area or qualified to make content about a certain topic or whatever. And my philosophy on that has always been that like you're always at least one step ahead of someone else in your journey, right? So you may not be the world's foremost expert on this thing or whatever, but there's lots of other people there, who you could potentially put your hand on their shoulder and say, "Hey, don't make this mistake that I made when I was starting out or that I did a few months ago or 6 months ago, a year ago, or whatever." I know I'm not the world's foremost expert in negotiations. I know a lot about it, but, like, there's obviously people who have been doing it a lot longer than me and, maybe have tricks up their sleeve that I don't know about, and I'm okay with that. But I know that there are lots of people who I could have an impact on, right? And so it's hard though because it's like even like especially when I get, like, opportunities that feel like, whoa, like big opportunities, big podcasts or speaking engagements or things like that. That's when it starts to kind of creep in. It's like, ooh, like, am I really, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to say about me? Right. And so even this far into my journey, having made millions of dollars of sponsorships, having helped other people make millions of dollars, having taught hundreds of other creators in my courses and seeing them get amazing outcomes, even that right? Sometimes makes me cast doubt on the things that I'm doing, right? And so I just wanted to mention this because I think that a lot of the people that you look up to, whether it's creators or otherwise, people who are leaders of their industry, a lot of times they feel this stuff too, right? And a lot of times it's just about giving yourself the mental, having the mental fortitude and awareness to realize that like that's a normal thing, that's okay, and just having to constantly kind of pump yourself up and remind yourself that no, you do have something to bring to the table, you do have worth. The things you're talking about are valuable, and they're going to help others, right? And so I wanted to mention that thing about imposter syndrome because that has been one of the most surprising things having educated creators over the last several years is that I did not realize how big of an impact the mental stuff is for most folks. Like that is really the biggest obstacle for them sending a pitch or reaching out or when they pitch a brand and they get ghosted and not feeling like turning inward and thinking that they suck or their content sucks or their pitch sucks or whatever. It's probably mostly actually that their pitch sucks, but you know what I mean? It's not a personal thing. It's not like a personal affront and that a lot of people take this stuff very personally. And so I wanted to mention that imposter syndrome. And so to wrap this up here before we dive into Q&A, my third takeaway from this year as a creator is that effortless work life balance is not a thing when you work for yourself. right? You have to be disciplined and make the effort to set your own boundaries. And this last point I think is super important. There was someone who tweeted a graph, and I've seen this graph like for the last year or two. In fact, I have it taped up on my wall right next to the camera right here, and I wish I could like pull it up or show it or something like that. But actually, let me those of you who are on. You know what? I'm like live streaming on. I just realized I'm live streaming on Instagram too, and I did not even turn on that, so I don't know who's on my Instagram chat right now. As I'm getting so caught up in this. There we go. We've got it on now. Um, um, and so okay, so what this chart is let me pull up this chart if I can. It's actually going to be a little small, but basically it's a bell curve, and it says who Americans spend their time with by age. And the graph of time spent with children basically peaks at age 36, which is how old I am right now, roughly. And so it's like keeping in mind, like even if you don't have kids, like keeping in mind that like the time that you spend with the people in your life who you love the most is somewhat fleeting, until you see it presented in this kind of way, it's kind of hard to realize, right? And so I wanted to just bring up this last point to essentially have each and every one of you who are on this live stream reflect, like, what would your future self thank you for doing today? Right? When you love what you do, life and work can easily blend into one because that's what has happened to me, right? Like my life, my work, they're all very much blended. I love what I do. I work really hard, but you have to separate the two sometimes, right? Because I think while we're busy striving for that next thing, these kind of golden moments in our life can really pass us by. And so I'm going to try and just be incredibly present moving forward and just be grateful for where I'm at in life. And so let me know in the chat. Are you going to join me on this gratefulness journey? Let's get some applause in the chat. Let's get some ka-chings. Let's do this because I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for just a tremendous year. The fact that a lot of you show up in this live stream every single week, you contribute, you give me your stories, you give me your anecdotes, you ask your questions. The fact that you're here just means so much to me. I see like a lot of you here every single week, and we just this community that we've built. I just can't believe I have 10,000 creators on my newsletter. I think I have over 600 creators in my free private community on Circle now. It's just like being able to interact with folks and help folks out. Like it fulfills me. I cannot tell you, I've never been more fulfilled. I this like the next 2 weeks where it's going to be kind of dead or off because of the holidays and everything. I'm just itching already because like I just kind of want to like I love the downtime and spending with family and everything too. But like contrary to everything I just told, it's like my mind is always thinking about this stuff because I love it so much, right? And so it's like a blessing and a curse, I think, to some degree, right? So, anyways, let's dive into the chat. I'm actually getting hot right now. I don't know why I decided to wear like a cable knit sweater. What's wrong with me? I know it's like a lot of people are in like an Arctic freeze right now, but in California, we're very much not. And so I wanted to call out Aaron's House of Legos. This has been my best year on YouTube. I gained 70 subscribers. Yo, Aaron, congratulations. Let's get some applause. Let's drop our wins in the chat here. I want to hear about everyone's wins this year. Carol Lynn Lopez says, I'm very new to this. I completed gifted to paid and tried to use your language when responding to brands that show up in my DM through Instagram. Carol Lynn, first of all, thank you so much for supporting me. I hope you found the gifted to paid program valuable. And let me know, like, did you starting to use some of that language? Any results, any interest? So appreciate that. We got a question here from Sensei Seth. Hey, Justin, I have a sponsorship manager that I'm exclusive with, and I have been working with since October. We've yet to sign a deal with a brand, and it feels a bit slow despite a lot of bites. How long should I wait before separating myself? That's a great question. Sebastian actually asked a question. Do you have a break clause? Typically, managers put a 3-month trial for that exact reason. Yeah. The same question that I have with Sebastian, Seth. Typically, you're right. 90 days is usually kind of a standard clause that I would look to have if I was signing on with a manager, because it should be this kind of thing where it's like, okay, let's try this on for size both parties, see if it actually work is a fruitful relationship for both of us, and if it's not, then we can part ways and no harm, no foul. And so I think that that would be my first question is like, do you have that clause? Would you consider walking? I do think that like, a couple questions like how experienced is the sponsorship manager? Is this someone who's like very experienced? Is this someone who's junior? Your level of expectation of how quickly you might be able to get deals would need to be aligned with that. However, if you are feeling as though they're bungling inbound opportunities, you said you had lots of bites, um, but they're kind of bungling these opportunities, that would be a cause for alarm. Do you feel as though these bites would have been ones that you would have otherwise closed? And for whatever, like, give me some more context. Are they slow to reply to emails? Are they not professional in the way that they're like, packaging you're packaging you up essentially to pitch you? Give me the data because I could probably give you a little bit more, like insight if I had more information. But yeah, I mean, especially if you've had bites and they're not closing them, that is a little bit concerning, I would say. Andrew, hey Justin, what's going on? Andrew here. I feel that 100%. Yeah. Hey Jenny, what's going on? Carol Lynn says, I thank myself for not going back to a corporate job, even though nothing seems to be working. LOL. Carol says, well, you know what, Carol? Sometimes good things take time to build. And I hear you, and it's funny because like, um, I posted this on Twitter like maybe like a couple weeks ago or something, but like there was a day where I got more people joining my newsletter in 24 hours than in the first 7 months combined. I think like 246 creators joined my newsletter in like a 24-hour period, and it took me 7 months to get that in the like get 256 creators on my newsletter in the beginning. And so it's like I say that because a lot of times there is a snowball effect to what you're doing. It seems like you're kind of shouting into the void sometimes, right? And it's just like, is anyone listening? Anyone paying attention? Any brands interested in this? And then all of a sudden, it's like you're a 10-year success in the you're an overnight success 10 years in the making. You've heard that saying, right? And so. I can't speak to your situation, Carolyn, but you know, I do often give this advice to creators is that just takes time sometimes to build good things, to build out a pipeline, working with brands and so on. So, but the fact that you're here, the fact that you're investing in your knowledge, investing in yourself, you're data driven, you're looking at the content that you're creating, seeing what's working, seeing what's not, really trying to be a student of that process is really what's going to separate you. So, yeah, we've got Kristen tuning in on the IG chat, Urban Van Life. We've got Ming Ming Duck, yes, Andrew tuning in. Oh, maybe you switched to YouTube. Good to see you. TC is me on TikTok. We've got Mayor of Whoville. Oh my gosh, I have not even watched The Grinch yet. So I need to watch The Grinch. We've got Durag Dev. We've got who else? Let's see here. We've got Heather Chapman. What is going on? Onboarding a new dream brand client this year. Congratulations, Heather. That's awesome. And yes, I'm so glad that you find value in the emails, Devin. And that means a lot to me. We've got Mama Bright X. I just want to finally put myself out there and stop letting fear get in the way. I hear you. I totally hear you. We've got Mocktail Mom. What's going on, Mocktail Mom? Good to see you. Let's see. I'm like probably shaking the camera trying to read these. Let's see here. All right. Okay, let's see here. We've got Aaron's House of Lego says your newsletter has been so informational. I'm so glad to hear that, man. D and fam, what's going on, D? I missed my notification for this live. Happy Friday, everyone. Good to see you, D. I hope you're feeling better. Johnny Law, what's going on, John? We've got John. I relaunched my YouTube channel and got 22,000 subs in 14 days. What? John, tell us how that happened. What the heck? Or are you posting shorts? Like, what type of content are you making, man? You're putting me to shame here, blowing me out of the water, man. That's incredible. Did you have some content go viral? That's incredible. Andrew says thoughts on splitting multiple accounts. I know you created multiple YouTube accounts. All right. Well, let's talk about this. I am in the process of doing this right now. Andrew, I am creating a brand new YouTube channel for my new podcast. So those of you who know, I'm creating a new podcast called Creator Debates, where I have two guests come on to the podcast and debate a very hotly contested topic in the creator economy. The tagline for the show is Creator Debates. stupid arguments to help creators make smart decisions. And so it's going to be fun. It's going to be irreverent. There's going to have lots of stupid sound effects like this. When people like go over their time, there's going to be countdown timers. It's going to be so much fun. And so I've decided to split out the channels. And so that is going to be kind of a long form, there's going to be long form podcast clips on there. There's going to be like clips of the podcast shorts, and so on. And so this is a brand new experiment. And I'm going to like take you all around along for the ride. I'm 10 years into my, journey, 10 years plus into my journey on YouTube, and I'm trying something new. I've never done a podcast before. I've always wanted to, and I recorded the first 2 episodes already. And let me tell you, there were fireworks, y'all. Like this is good. There's something special here about this format, about this show. I like honestly, mark my words. I'm gonna like what date is it? 12/23/22. I'm gonna come back to this live stream in 1 year from now or 2 years from now, and I think that this podcast is gonna be at a very different place. I haven't even launched it yet, but there's something special about this. Every time I tell the idea to someone, they're just like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to be on that," or like I kind of hype it on Twitter. People are like, "Oh my god, my goal in life is to get on that show," or like some people are suggesting topics to me like this versus this, right? So that first episode is going to be video versus non-video podcast, or video versus audio podcast, right? Do you actually need a like video like in today's day and age? And so I had Jay Klaus, my good friend, who completely reimagined his podcast as a video podcast, about 6 months ago. And then Joe Casabona, who's like an advocate for audio podcasts. So it's like I'm making people pick a side, and it's fun. It's really fun, and I'm just really excited to like. And then the second episode is going to be hustle culture versus life design. So I basically had two very prominent creators pick a side on that one as well. So I had like an unlimited amount of ideas for this podcast. And in fact, let me know in the chat if there's like a podcast idea that you think would be a great fit for this. Because I'm looking for fireworks here, and I'm just really excited to, honestly taking this experiment, and being very open about the successes and the failures and how I'm building it and all this stuff too. I'm working on the branding right now. I just hired a designer, my designer Sarah, who's going to be completely redesigning the Creator Wizard website. There's just so many things. I feel like there's like a zillion projects that I'm working on at any given time, I'm really stoked. Andrew said, "I'm surprised you haven't done a podcast yet." It's funny, like we actually have about six. So the first idea about the podcast was, let's just repurpose these live streams, right? Because there's lots of people who have said that, like, hey, I wish that you just had a podcast where I could listen to the live streams on my, on a commute or something where I can't watch the video, but I want to listen to it. And so in fact, I have like 6 or 7 of these live streams that we repurposed already as just audio. We had music, we had an intro, I re-recorded intros, like I did the whole thing. And I just sat there and I was like, this isn't really that interesting. Like it's useful, but like it's not. It's just like, I'm just repurposing it. It's okay, but it's not what I want it to be. And so maybe one day I'll like do something with those, but like, I don't know. It just feels like I wanted something new. I wanted a creative outlet that I got excited about. And that wasn't that. And so sometimes you have to follow the passion, and my passion wasn't there. So I don't know. There's so many things that I could do. There's like, and I want to do all of them, but this is like the creator's curse, right? It's like you have to pick a few things because you can't do it all. Johnny Law said, question, my channel is forensic related, and now I'm getting multiple brand deal offers from gaming channels that don't really match what I'm doing. Doesn't matter. Thoughts? All right, John, I have a, like perhaps a mindset shift around this for you. The first and most important piece of advice that I have is, do you have data around your audience, not just demographics, but psychographics? Do you have 70% or 80% of your audience? Are they gamers? Are they interested in gaming? Would that change your mind if you found that information out? If you put a poll on your YouTube community tab, or you put a type form or a Google form on there to say, hey, I want to learn more about you. I know there's a lot of new folks here. I'd love to learn a little bit more information about you. Take this survey. It takes you 30 seconds or whatever. And then you you saw the results of that survey and 80% of them are gamers or 50% are gamers or 30% are gamers, 40%, whatever, would that change your mind? Because I would say that probably it might. And if you are coming at it from a perspective of service to your community and to your audience, then letting them know about a new game or a new, platform to, game or mobile game or whatever, that's serving them, right? And I'm sure that you could figure out a creative way to integrate that into your content. So many creators are very fixated. Oh, I can only work with like forensic, like type of companies or whatever. I don't even know what that would be. But or like protection, like Simply Safe, like alarm systems and all this stuff, right? But again, it's about serving your audience, and so I think if you look at it from that perspective of like figuring out how you can learn more about them, it'll make these decisions easier, I guess is the point. So let me know if that's helpful. Sebastian Jeffries said, my question, what is a next step for a creator who has hit all of their dream brand hit list? I have done deals with all of my favorite brands in my niche, and I'm wondering if you had a what's next. So there's two paths, Sebastian, that I would recommend in this scenario. The first is what is the brand or the product that you actually want to create? Maybe there is something actually a brand or a product line or a service that you could create that it would actually serve your audience and serve your community. In the same way that you had a bunch of dream brands that you worked with that you got to tell your audience about, is there an itch that you've always wanted to scratch of a brand that doesn't exist or a product that doesn't exist? I think for a lot of creators who have done that, you've started to see them. They've done bunch of brand partnerships, done a bunch of sponsorships, and then they come out with their own brand, their coffee brand, or their whatever screwdriver brand or whatever it is, right? You've seen these things. A bidet, like I saw, a big YouTuber created a bidet. It's like funny and fun stuff like that that their audience would get and find funny or valuable or whatever. And so that would be one path to go down is like do your own brand type of idea. And then the other path to go down would be potentially going back to some of these dream brands that you have worked with before, and rather than looking at it as like a one-off transactional partnership, are there other ways in which you can provide value to them? I talk about a lot on this live stream is like how you could be a consultant, not just a creator. Are there other opportunities for you to go back and say, hey, this partnership we did a couple months ago was awesome. Here is some ways I actually think that you might be able to improve your overall strategy as a brand. I noticed that you're not targeting podcasters with your, software or whatever. Like, let's like have a consulting session where I come and I talk to your R&D team, your product, your marketing team, whatever, your sales team, and here's some observations that I have, having grown a very large following in this niche. Here's some recommendations that I can make that actually, whether it's to improvements to the product or improvements to the way in which you're marketing the product. Like if that type of thing fires you up, that's another avenue. Like for me, at least, like that was something that I started doing a lot, and an opportunity that I got when I ran the agency. I loved having these types of higher level strategy conversations with some of these brands that because this is what happened. Like a lot of times, the way in which we would get clients for my agency is that we would do a great campaign with a brand, or even another agency for that matter. And then once that deal was done, I would reach back out to them and say, hey, loved working on that deal just like a couple weeks ago with you. Did you know that are you also looking to work with other creators? Because I run this agency over here and the same level of service and communication that you got working with us personally, that's what you can expect in the agency. And so then got to have these higher level conversations where it's no longer just, 10 grand that they were paying us. It's now they're paying, 500 grand or 100 grand or whatever on this larger deal across a bunch of different influencers and so on. And so it's just like a totally different conversation. And that really fired me up. And so, Sebastian, I don't know if those two paths are interesting or exciting to you, but like that's where my mind goes. Because honestly, like my wife April and I, it's basically the same. We've worked with pretty much every like big consumer brand, you name it, all the big conglomerates, Unilever, SC Johnson, P&G, all their subsidiaries, travel, entertainment, you name it. We've probably, food, big, CPG brands, like we've pretty much done it. And we've done over 500 sponsorships at this point, literally. And so, we've done it all. And yet the interesting thing is that we never get tired of it. It's so fun to us. Like, there's always new challenges, new campaigns, new ways to bring these things to life, new ways in which you can provide value to brands. So even though like we had a dream brand hit list and we've kind of checked that box with most of them, there is one dream brand that we've never worked with, and that's Target. We've worked with them in a kind of an indirect way where it was like a product that was available in Target. We've done that a couple times, but never like Target was the sponsor. And so that is still kind of a bucket list. But a lot of like you, a lot of the bucket list things that we've wanted to make happen over the years, we've made happen. Actually, one that was a big bucket list for my wife was being in a magazine, like a print magazine, and she finally made that happen. We got an opportunity with Lunchable in an all recipes magazine. And so that was amazing. That was so cool. And that happened 10 years into the journey. Right. And so I feel like there's always these kind of like new things that might be milestones that would be really cool. And so maybe even though you worked with a lot of your dream brands, maybe there's some of these other creative angles that might get you fired up. So let me know if that's helpful. Johnny says, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. About asking your audience, of course, 100%. Um, Spartan Gaming said, I have started YouTube this year, almost 10K subs and an okay amount of views, starting to get sponsorships from other games, but I realized I was handling it all wrong until I found your channel. Thank you. Holy cow, Spartan Gaming. That really means so much to me. Honestly, I appreciate it. Honestly, the fact that you showed up here, you left a comment letting me know instead of just like being here, not making a comment. Like, there's lots of people who like watch my videos, watch the streams, get my emails, but the things that always mean the most to me are when you reply to me, you leave a comment to me, because oftentimes, even me, it feels like I'm shouting into the void sometimes. I'm sending an email to 10,000 creators every single week, multiple times a week. And I get replies, but it's not like I get 500 replies. It's like I get, a handful, right? And I'm starting to get a lot more emails. Let's say that because with 10,000 creators, I have like automations also. So I have like a nurture sequence. So like my emails are now Monday, Thursday, and Saturdays. If you just join the list, and so I do get replies for sure, but it's like not as much as you would think with 10,000 people on a list. And so when I do get replies, it means so much to me. Honestly, I love hearing your feedback. I love hearing what's going wrong because it helps, me feel as though I'm providing value. It helps me, design more effective products and courses and offers and things like that. Helps make my coaching better. So if you're listening to this right now, um, it really means a lot to me if you take that extra step and just like leave a comment, send a DM, reply to the email. Like that means so much because I read them all. Like I really do read them. So yeah, that means a lot. Smart gaming. Thank you. Carolyn Lopez says a company tried to get me to be a brand ambassador. Then they showed up again under a different company name. They were using the same username for this company. What red flag would that red flag make you run? That's definitely odd. There are some. I've seen these before. These emails, my wife and I get them, where it's like kind of similar products. Their email pitches look identical. It's like maybe a different name or something like that. And what I have found is that these are brands who are um, they're like, it's not that they're scams, it's just that they, just spin up these, like, random brand names and random products and kind of like it's almost like it's drop shipping or white labeled product. It's not like a real brand behind it. Again, I'll stop short of calling it a scam or anything like that, but we've always never worked with those types of brands because it just seems like something weird going on. So, yeah, Carol, I would say just kind of go with your gut in those situations. Um, Lakista, Lakista Arena, Lakista Arena. I want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Says the emails are great. Saying that on TikTok, thank you. That really means a lot to me. Honestly, thank you. I really appreciate that. We got Paxton Pulls. I appreciate the advice you give. Of course, of course. Thank you for joining. We have Best Boy Benson said, I'd love to see you interview top creators on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah, my podcast, I'm really hoping to do that. I'm hoping to do that. Like, I have a lot. I'm really excited about all the different avenues, um, that are going to be for the podcast. All right, let's see here. Um, Paxton Pole says, I can vouch that he responds to the feedback on his newsletter. Paxton Pole, yes, I do. Thank you. That means a lot to me. I do. I get a lot, but I really try and reply. Right? Like it means a lot to me. I don't know how. Like, okay, here's the deal. Like, I don't know how this is going to change when I get to 50K on the newsletter because this is going to happen. I know it is. I know it's like I'm going to make a prediction. I don't know what my prediction is going to be, but like I think I'll be at 50K newsletter within 2 years. Like I really feel confident about that. With the trajectory that I'm on, how hard I'm working to grow that newsletter, how important to me growing the newsletter is to the overall business and the success of the business, and how I want to have the biggest impact that I can. I am making moves to like a good example of this is that I've decided to open source my calculator. It's my sponsorship pricing calculator that I've worked so hard on. I've spent thousands of dollars like hiring experts to like make it pretty on Notion and like all this stuff, and just the amount of time that I've spent trying to design it, and over 7 cohorts of the course now, people using it and asking questions and improving it and making it better and all this stuff, and just like also with the data that I have, having done tons and tons of sponsorships myself, I've decided to open source it, and like this is a move that I'm going to be making because I want to help the most amount of people possible. I have this goal, as you know, to help creators big and small land 1 million sponsorships by 2032. And so the way that I want to do that is to give stuff away for free. Information wants to be free. My thesis is that there will always be people who want to like more detailed help, like courses and coaching and all that stuff too. And so, yeah, that's like the top of funnel people, like the vast majority of people are just going to like use it and take it for free. I don't care. I don't care if those people never pay me. I really don't. I really just want to help people. And so, um, however, like to be able to get access to the calculator, you have to join my email. Of course, like that, it's like a lead magnet, right? And so that's just like an example of a way in which I want to grow the newsletter is giving away really valuable stuff like the calculator, right? And so yeah, so stay tuned on that because like that these are just I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm like I have no idea what I'm doing, but like I think it'll work, and we'll see, and I'll keep you posted, right? Uh, so anyways, Sebastian said, true. Making a product that can automate like a course is probably a good direction, right? Great avenue, of course. Yeah, I think that might be an interesting avenue for you. Sebastian, let me know your niche because I'm not familiar with it. It seems I'm looking at your profile photo. Maybe it's like tech. I don't know, but yeah, glad that was helpful, man. Spartan Gaming said, one day I told an agency my rate, and he said our offer is 5x of that. Then I realized I need to learn a way to figure out this sponsorship thing, and I found you. Glad I did. Yeah, that's very rare that the agency will actually tell you, actually, your rate is too low. We're actually going to pay you 5 times that. And so, glad that you had that realization now versus another time because that you're leaving a lot of money on the table for sure. Um, I let's see here. Uh, Best Boy Benson said, "Are you hiring? I'd love to work for you." I'm not hiring at the moment. I do have, like, occasionally I will. Like, in fact, I actually just, I sent out actually a Google form in my newsletter a couple weeks ago, looking for a video editor. And so I would really recommend joining my private circle community is free, as well as my newsletter, because if I do hire, oftentimes the first place I look is my community. I look at y'all. You guys are creators. Who better to look for help from within my own community? And so that's what I did. I got a bunch of applications from people on my newsletter. And so, I ultimately so basically what I did is I hired 3 different editors and I gave them all the same footage. And I said, "Tell me what you got," kind of thing. And I'm still kind of TBD. We're still kind of working through the process. But I do have someone that's a front runner for sure. And so I'm really excited about that. And the person that's a front runner actually was a cold pitch talking about pitching on this call. You guys know this. This is someone who like saw that I had been talking on Twitter about the fact that I was looking for an editor, and they cold pitched me. They emailed me, and I said, "Sure, let's give it a shot. Why not?" And the video they sent back was phenomenal. So, you never know. You literally never know. I don't know who this person was, but they cold pitched me. I looked them up. Kind of looked at their socials and their portfolio and stuff, and looked pretty solid. And so I thought, what the heck not? Let's give them a shot. Right. So cold pitching works, especially Best Boy Benson, like if you're like if a goal of yours is to like work for other creators and like learn the trade and learn the ropes and stuff like that, sometimes all it takes is a cold pitch. And whether figuring out a way in which you could provide value, whether it's like helping manage their social media or moderation or engagement, reply to people or like helping with their email list responses or whatever. Oftentimes it's as simple as a cold pitch. And so yeah, definitely consider like perhaps reaching out to other creators who even though they may not actively be saying they're looking for help, you could be the one to reach it out and be like, hey, got any projects for me? I'd love to work with you, love your content type of thing. let's see here. Yeah, Spartan Gaming said, yeah, they were kind enough to tell me one question. One question. Some games make me want. Some games make me. Some games want me to make a dedicated video, but those videos kill CTR and click through rate. Should I keep doing those partnerships or only offer integrated ads? Um, think of it from a audience first mindset. Like, it is a dedicated, even if it's killing your CTR or your retention or anything like that. Is it serving your community? That's what I want to know. If your viewership is down on those videos, like I don't really care. Is there a segment of your audience that it's serving? Because if it is, keep doing it. That's all they care. Like at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Are you serving your audience? Are you serving the brand? Are you serving you? You're getting compensation. You are, because again, remember, the vast majority of the content that you make is free, that your audience is getting for free, right? So getting compensated to keep the channel up and running so that you can keep making awesome content. It's totally reasonable to do videos. Like my wife and I have done dedicated, like sponsored videos on our channel before. We don't do them very often, but if it was serving our community, if it was serving the brand, if it was serving us, it was helping us continue to, make great content for free. The vast majority of them make for free, right? So like, there's absolutely no reason why you can't entertain those types of scenarios. Now, if you're just shilling a product that you know that's not going to be helpful for your audience, then of course don't do that. Right? That's a money grab. Don't do that. But what I'm saying is, I think a lot of people are overly cautious about how many sponsorships they're doing and the types of sponsorships they're doing. Even if you 2 or 3x the amount of sponsorships that you did, probably still would be too few, in my opinion. Because I think that like a lot, like interestingly, if you look at the analog for podcasts, if you've ever listened to podcasts, oftentimes they will have 3, 4, 5 ad reads in one podcast, a large podcast, right? It's just that's the format and that's totally acceptable. You don't even think about that. But somehow, if they like in every episode, there's ad reads, right? And so oftentimes for some reason, for other types of social media creators, somehow it's taboo. Like you almost never see 2 sponsors in one video, for example, right? That's just like not a thing. Right. And so I think that the volume of sponsorships that I believe that we're going to see a trend to be, having more saturation of sponsorships in content, and that being a totally normal thing. And so again, like I don't think that there's anything to worry about there. Dean Pham said, working on the Creator Wizard team is amazing. Anyone who joins will be in good hands. I appreciate that so much, Dean. It's been such an amazing pleasure to work with you and the rest of the team this year. I just feel so blessed. Drea's Curious Cuisine says, Justin responds quickly, considering the busy life that he has. Sometimes when I watch the vlogs, I wonder how you do it all. It's such a present father, husband, holding it down, all those jobs. Good job, Justin. Drea, that means so much to me. I really can't tell you how much that means. Yeah, because it's not just Greater Wizard. Honestly, like my wife and I are doing like tons of stuff also on the our YouTube channels and sponsorships elsewhere. So, but I must say, like, man, having shut down the agency was such a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Like finally paying down all the debt and just basically being able to kind of shut the door and not do any campaigns with that. It was like really burning me out for a while there. As you know, if you watch that video, like for the first, for the last like 2 years or so, ever since I started Creator Wizard, I was running Travel Family, the agency, in the background myself. On top of all the Creator Wizard content and courses and all that stuff, coaching, and I was running on fumes. And so to finally pay down the debt and to be able to fully concentrate on this passion of mine, which is educating folks, has just been such a blessing this year. Um, Lovebird Heartworks. Hey, Justin, Merry early Christmas. Yes, absolutely. Be Nice 2019 said, you seem like the type to read all the pamphlets at the doctor's office. And you know what? You're 100% right. If I get a car rental agreement, I read it top to bottom. So I don't know if that's meant to be an insult. Be Nice 2019. Maybe you only were nice in 2019 because right. Be Nice 2019. Maybe like 2022, 3 years later, you're not really down with being nice anymore. But if that was an insult, I'll take it because I am the type of person to read that. And that is why I'm educating creators all about this. You have to read your contracts when you're working with brands and things like that. You can't just like rubber stamp it. You can't just right. You can't just sign it without reading it. You're going to sign rights away. You're going to like agree to exclusivity or usage rights, and they're not going to pay you adequately for that kind of thing. Come on, that's why I'm here. We got Alicia Cheek, PhD. What's up, Alicia? Good to see you. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. We've got Kamunto Bear. We've got Lonely Loyalty Travels. Let's see. We've got Spartan Gaming in YouTube chat says you honestly deserve 10x the viewers, but maybe then we wouldn't be able to get super detailed answers like these. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That means a lot to me. We got Paul from the Green Industry Podcast joining. What's up, Paul? Happy holidays, bro. Good to see you, man. Oh my gosh, Trina said, I know, and you manage April's deals and paperwork of the business. So proud of you in April. I've been watching for real since the apartment days for the boys. Wow, that is way back in the day. You were like an OG viewer. That really means a lot to me. Thank you, Drea. You're always here, and you're always here supporting it. It really means a lot to me. Um, a break for mommy. Hey, Justin, happy holidays. Thanks for all you do. Of course. Great to see you. Happy holidays. All right, y'all. So what are your questions all about negotiations and brand deals and sponsorships? How can I serve you? We've got about 10 minutes left in the live stream. So let's have some fun. Should we do a rapid fire round? How about anything goes? You have any questions about my creator business? This is an AMA. What do you want to know? What are your goals for next year? Successes, failures from this year. Let's have some fun. This is going to be my last live stream of 2023. So we're going to pick it back up in the new year. Let's see. Spartan Gaming. Am I allowed to ask questions with actual numbers? Sure. What is that? Yeah, ask away. What do you want to know? We'll see if I can answer. Um, we got a question here from Mama Mia. It's Kia. That's a great username. What are some key things that you should include in a cold pitch to provide services? Great question. So, what kind of services are you thinking? Like social media services or content creation? Let's see. Um, let me know if you want to like give me some more details there. Mocktail Mom. Yeah, yes, I would have signed rights away forever without you. Oh man, I'm so happy to hear that. Like, glad to hear that I helped you avoid that. um, so let me know, Mama Mia. Yeah, let me know like what type of services are you looking to provide, and I can provide some more feedback. Social media management, content creation. Great. All right. It follows the format of the pitching methodology that I teach called the ROPE method. So R stands for relevant to a campaign that the brand has either run in the past or is running currently. O stands for organic, meaning that you can tie your pitch back to organic content that you've already posted or work that you have in your portfolio. P stands for proof, meaning that you can show how you've helped other brands achieve results. And E is easy to execute when they say, yeah, sounds good. Like, what do you have in mind? Right. And so that framework is really, really important when you're pitching them. And so the structure of this is that you make your pitch about them, not about you. So what a lot of people do is, you reach out and you say, "Hey, Mama Mia, it's Kia. I have this many followers on social media. I can help you do this, this, this. Blah 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 blah. I was born and raised in this city, and I have these many siblings." And I'm being a little facetious, but like that's what a lot of creators do. They make it all about them, and the brand says delete. They don't know who you are. They don't care, right? And so what I teach is this rope pitching method is you have to make it relevant. So you say, "Hey, I saw that you're running this campaign on Instagram right now. That's so awesome. I can help you. Are you looking to continue to run that campaign for the next 3 months? Or, are you looking to run this other campaign, New Year, New You, or, springtime, blah, 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 in Q2? I have some creative ideas for how I can help you do that, right? Here is a link to a post of work that I've done that was similar, right? So the organic link. And then you say, hey, I can help you make, 10 videos a month or 10 reels a month. I can do this many photos. I can actually manage all the content for, all the scheduling and all the posting for you, blah, 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 all these things that I'm going to do for you. Here is how, here's a link to, another brand's handle of how I've helped manage their, social strategy in the past. Do you have some time at 10 a.m. to talk about this next week on Thursday or whatever? So that's the format of the pitch. It's about what you can do for them, not about how awesome you are. And that's a call they'll take, right? And so I'm grossly simplifying it a little bit here, but that is really the structure and the approach that I would take to pitch anything, to pitch social media services, to do freelance work, to pitch a sponsorship, whatever. This is really what I teach in week one of my course, Brand at Wizard. And so but I'm happy to kind of share like this is kind of the basic like outline. Um, the Daily Roam says, how do you get the conversation started on collaborations? So the conversation, the way in which you get started is you reach out. Like a lot of the things I just talked about with the rope pitching method, like that is how you get the conversation started. Again, come at it from a mindset of like, if I was in their shoes, if I was like running the brand's social media strategy, right? If I was in their shoes, what would I want someone reaching out to say? It's probably like, hey, I can help you accomplish this marketing objective, right? At the end of the day, that's really what you would care about, right? And that even if it was a modest investment that you'd have to pay this person to help you do that, you would probably take that call. You'd entertain that email. You versus all these other people reaching out and being like, "Hey, would love to collaborate." Like that's what everyone says, right? And so that's really how you get the conversation started is you make it about them and not you. Okay, we got some numbers here from Spartan Gaming. An agency reached out to me to promote their game. I said my rate is 350, and then they countered with 175. Should I counter offer or not? My usual rate is between $300 to $400. So far, I've done 5 partnerships. It is a dedicated video for the game, and they said the client is looking for long-term partnerships, but that could just be, baiting me to like actually lower the rate. It's a good question. So, um, a couple things to keep in mind here when you're trying to decide whether to accept a lower offer than what you proposed. The first one is how do you believe them when they said that there's a potential for a long term partnership? If you have seen them sponsoring other creators, have you seen them sponsor other creators multiple times? Because if they have sponsored other creators multiple times, then maybe it's not bluster. Maybe they're being serious that they do want to do long term partnerships. And if you see that they have done that with other people, then maybe they're not just making that up. That's number one. Number two is, are you looking to build your portfolio of good work? There is value in being able to uh, you said you've done 5 partnerships. Maybe you want to do 10, you want to do 15, so that every time that a new brand or a new agency reaches out, you have also a track record to say, hey, this campaign sounds great. It reminds me of this other campaign I did with the brand XYZ that XYZ was similar. And so because again, a lot of times it comes down to social proof, especially if you are starting to do cold pitching. Spartan Gaming, right? You want to have a portfolio of good work that you've done that you can point to and be like, hey, I'm saying that I can do this for you. It's going to be $1,000 or whatever. But the reason I'm not just making this up is because look at these case studies and testimonials of brands that I've worked with in the past. And so maybe you value that, right? And you're building this sponsorship strategy. That's an important like thing to do to build up your track record as a creator working with brands. And so you would look at that and be like, hey, you know what? Yeah, it's half of what I pitched them. Maybe that's okay, and I want to build up my portfolio here. But again, you could also counter offer. Like likely what they would do is let's say that you countered offer and said, no, it's either, okay, 175, I get it, but like, what I need is actually something between that, right? I need like 250 or whatever, 225, whatever it is, right? You make up some number. And they're either gonna say, sure, we can do that, or they're going to say no, like 175 is the most we can do. And then you're literally no worse off and you can take the 175 if you want to, right? Because like a lot of creators are concerned about counter offering because they think that the brands just like pull the deal off the table. And in my experience, like that almost never happens. They basically just say, no, we can like the counter offer that we gave you, that's what we can do. And you can decide whether you want to take that deal or not. And so I am always a big fan of just like I have like in deals that my wife and I have done, there have been situations where we've counter proposed 6 or 7 times. We just literally keep going back and forth. We're trying to like pull different levers on the negotiation. In fact, that's in large part a lot of what we talk about in week 2 of my Brand Deal Wizard course. It's all about pricing, packages, and negotiation psychology and understanding this stuff. Because a lot of people feel as though that the only lever they have to pull when they are negotiating with a brand is price. And that's simply not the case. There's so many different things, so many different levers that you can pull. Um, because you have to understand the psychology of like what's going on in the brand's mind when they are trying to negotiate with you. And so packages and the different things that you offer, usage, exclusivity, the amount of deliverables, and like there's so many different things that you can play around with, and you just kind of keep going back and forth with the brand to kind of understanding. A lot of it comes down to understanding what do they value, because sometimes brands will value things that you don't, and so you can use those as negotiation levers and leverage in the negotiation to get more money, get more advantageous terms for yourself, less exclusivity, if you know that they value this one thing over here that you don't really care about, right? So that, I'm simplifying it, but like, yeah. And Spartan Gaming said, "You're a lifesaver, man. Thank you. I think I'll take it to build the portfolio, as you said, to work with the agency for the first time. I've seen multiple sponsored videos for different creators. Yeah. Besides the content and value you provide, I love your energy, man. Much appreciated. Absolutely. So glad to hear that. And y'all, we have reached the end of the live stream today. Again, as this is the last live stream of 2022, I just wanted to say I truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. The fact that my business has grown so significantly over the last like year has been in large part because of the support that you've given me, especially the folks of you those of you who show up on the live stream every week. You guys are my crew, ride or die. I appreciate it so much. I hope you have a wonderful holiday if you celebrate. Hope you have a wonderful new year. I will see you back in 2023. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful holiday, and I'll see you on the flip side, y'all. Peace.